Winthrop University after the very first map in the series. A series that we said that they have to take that first one to even had a chance. But when everyone counts Winthrop University out, they step up and they win on Fracture. Not just a win, but a strong one at that, Dan. 13-6. That was insanity. And we got a map 3 now.
It's going the complete opposite way that I expected, because I said Fracture 100% is going to go the way of Cooper Academy. But guess what? Winthrop had a different story to tell for this one. It looked amazing. Everybody really having an understanding on how they wanted to play this one out, especially with an infiltrator that was popping off. Gets so many first kills. I think it was 5 and 0 that he gets towards the end, and especially in that second half where you think Cooper Academy is going to have a better chance. It's the bonus rounds that goes the way of Winthrop. They lose one round, then they get that now. That the one after, and it's just a momentum-based half for them. I love what I saw from them today, and we did talk about the changes that we were going to be seeing for these two teams, potential changes. And it was a Tejo, I feel like, for the side of Nismo that didn't have as much impact as I expected. We talked about him playing on the KO on this map, being very good. Then it seems like he was trying to adapt to his meta and doesn't really work out for this team.
Yeah, I think it's also just even the swap there for Alia, if you were going to look on the side of Winthrop, just that additional stall ability, I think, coming out from the Brimstone, the ability to change that pace a little bit with the Stim Beacon, and of course, the zoning that you can do, whether in the post plans or even to try and retake or set up a round with that Orbital Strike when that ultimate does come online. We saw a lot of value coming out from that utility, where previously we've seen him, you know, running the Clove here and there. I think last time we saw them on Fracture, he was running the Clove, and that did give him the freedom to, you know, be a little bit more risky. But I think that we saw the value in that util in spades, and you can even look at 6 out of 6 post plans on the side of Winthrop. Of course, some of that credit also is going to have to go to Flair as well, with those salvos, and the rest of the team just looking to kind of deny any space that Qbert were trying to find in those fast floods.
I mean, Winthrop University, they're so experienced on this map of Fracture, but the composition has always been changing as they've been trying to find out what has really worked for them. And I think they cracked the code with this one. It was a Winthrop University that, after being down a map, really just stepped up to just top performance. So it was really, really nice to see. And when we were kind of expecting then this to be a series that Qbert Academy could kind of run over them a little bit of Ash, that was kind of difficult for them. And Winthrop University, like, huge kudos on them for, again, not being afraid to switch things up if something isn't 100% working.
Yeah, and I think it's just crazy how momentous it was for them. It really felt like they got the ball rolling a little bit later into that first half, and then after they initially built that momentum, being able to take the pistol round into the second half as well, it was smooth sailing from there for them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how they continue to level up on the side of Winthrop. I think it's cool how they can just very consistently step up their game so deep into the competition. You can see just the value that this squad was able to find.
Guys, not to bring the narrative back,
oh my god,
but hear me
doing it.
Oh no, oh no.
It's just curious. It's just really interesting. Infiltrator and moves popping off. They kind of remind me of these two players from T1. I don't know if you know them, Buzz and Meteor. Every time they're having a good map, the team, everybody seems to be having a good time. Look, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out. I'm just saying that it's up there, especially now that we're going into a third map. It might be depending on them, on Moobs and Infiltrator. And the crazy thing is that it doesn't matter what Moobs is playing. His impact really allows everybody else to shine. Every time you see a good moves map, everybody else is popping off. Everybody else is having great moments, and getting a result like this one, a 13-6 against Qbert Academy.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, like, just how well he's been able to play. And I feel like we had questions about the swap there for him going from the
Yeah.
chamber to the Vice to the Cypher and wondering, okay, how much value is this Cypher pick actually going to have? Because when you have an experienced duelist like Redux, who is very aware of these Cypher setups and how to break them apart with assistance coming out from his team as well, there were some concerns to be pulling out this kind of change from him. I think it allowed moves to definitely be a lot more dynamic on that attacking side, but it was his anchoring on defense that I think had not just us, the casters, stun locked as well, with how well he was able to just find these multi kills and shut down these pushes while playing, you know, behind his util too, but even just going for those aggressive swings.
For a lot of the time that we've seen Winthrop University on Fracture, with all of these changes to composition, moves on this Cypher hasn't been one. And Dan, it was something that there was talk about going into this because we had praised the Chamber a lot in terms of the fact that moves has this fragging potential. And when we saw the swap away to the Cypher, it was kind of like, okay, but it worked so well.
Yeah, it works so well, but it's mainly working out because Moves is just fragging out on the Cypher and also allowing the team to somehow create that space. So it's really cool to see, and it's something that we brought up right at the beginning of this match. We said everybody in this team is really flexible, and they're always doing this. They're always bringing the small changes into the matches where you're never 100% sure what composition they're going to lock in next. I feel like it might also be a change for the last map of Haven. We saw them playing a little bit of the Yoru. Moves was playing the Vice. So I honestly, at this point, I see them changing it up, and it has been working out for them, so why not?
I mean, it was not just Moves with a gigantic step up in this series, but Infiltrator as well. When we looked at a series, that map of Lotus, that didn't go Winthrop University's way, we had talked about, you know, Infiltrator not really getting to have the same impacts as Redux on the other side, Ash. And when we look at this map of Fracture and what he was able to accomplish there, well, numbers says it all.
Yeah, I think the reason why I wanted to pull up these stats too is it doesn't look great on Lotus. It's not the worst on Lotus, but definitely doesn't tell the whole story. I think that on Lotus, Infiltrator was doing his best to perform his role, you know, be that space creator and that tip of the spear for the side of Winthrop. But again, it came down to that backline, to that compositional difference. And you can see the impact that that has on his ability to frag out and unleash himself is when he has his team with a kit that can set him up properly, something that was missing out on our first map. Then we get to see it in spades here on Fracture with Nasi being on the breach for him to help him flash out, the fault lines to help him satchel out into sight very comfortably as well. And then Flare as well with those salvos, just being able to clear out very common areas, whether it's under sight on A or B tower on those B hits. And I'm looking forward to Haven because this is a map where we expect to see that same kind of supportive backline, being able to back Infiltrator up. We do think that maybe he will be shifting back to the Yoru that we had been seeing him play on Haven there, but there will be that assistance with that breach, which is something that I think makes a really big difference on his entries.
Yeah, looking at Haven as the final map in this series, for all the talks of Winthrop University changing things up, this is something that we've seen coming out from them more after Ali coming into the squads and the already existing changes. So I'm not really expecting too much change going into this one. Whereas on the end of Qbert Academy, there has been two different looks. It was quite a bit since we've seen their first appearance with it here, Dan, with the Redux on the Jet. Last time was the Neon, but it also was a Siri going up against Cora where we got a triple OT. So I'm curious how confident they're still feeling with this pick.
I like the Neon. Personally, for Redux, it's just one of the best Neons that we have in Challengers, and that's it. And it was, yeah, like you said, at 16-14, so it was very, very close. It was a back and forth between the two. But I want to keep seeing a little bit more of this Redux on Neon, especially if Infiltrator on the other side is going to be playing on this Euro once again.
Right, well, we have our agent select. Dan has a cat, which unfortunately we have to say
out
goodbye
what
to.
Picking.
Oh, let's all find out together, little one. All right, let's go over to the agent select. See what we're gonna get ahead of this series. See if there is any switches, or if the most recent composition is what we're gonna see coming out from both of our squads. And again, a game to determine who is going into that upper finals. Going into this, Ash, we get the Redux Neon, we get the Infiltrator Yoru. We're in for some fun.
Yeah, I think it's expected that there aren't going to be any changes actually for both these squads. I feel like they're comfortable compositions for both of them. Dan was already talking about the strengths of Redux being on that Neon. I think that's what's going to make it a really fun and dynamic attacking first half there for Qbert Academy, where he is going to be the one that we're looking to control the tempo here on Haven.
So the competition stayed the same, but it's still a map 3. Both of the teams trying to make it to the upper finals, and they're just one map away from being that whole series away and making it to what everybody is wanting to do since the beginning, since we were going into the group stage with all of those teams. They're trying to make it to the grand finals, and I mean, both of them are so close for making it happen. Very different compositions, though. I feel like you need to keep an eye on what Ali on the Astra is able to do, because we've seen a lot of the Clove today. We haven't seen that much of Ali on the Astra. We're still getting to know it, so I'm gonna keep my eyes on that, because Winthrop, they still have a good chance here.
One map separates these two teams with very different stories. Qbert Academy, one of the favorites going into this. Winthrop University, the ultimate underdog, the T1 of Tier 2. Let's see if they can get the upset as it's time to head into the Haven and to your casters for the final time today, Keg and Tenrek.
Thanks so much, Sierra. The very best. That's what's requested of you at this point. There is no more time to waste, Keg. It really does come down to this one more map to see who makes it to those winners finals and who will be placed in sudden death here in the playoffs. And it's all for those extra points, that extra inch to make your way to Ascension and become a member of VCT franchising.
Time is a scary concept that no one can escape from, and neither can these two teams. Now, if I'm looking at my wish list and I'm checking it twice, if I'm a Qbert fan, I really want moves to suffer and have a horrible game here. You gotta find a way to pressure him out. He's remained invisible. But guess what? Opening contact, behind the scenes, backslides, early smoke out. This is good for Winthrop's defense.
They're able to kind of facilitate around this first smoke, and Nasi opens for 2. Redux, after stunning himself, will quickly fix that and grab 2 more, but Moobs has been stuck up on that podium for far too long, and so Winthrop are able to crunch back on the site and make it an easy 1-0 pistol.
I blinked and it was over. That's it. I saw one flash of the breach and suddenly I'm awake and it's round 2. Winthrop again, an early read against Qbert Academy. We talked about it back on Fracture. We talk about it here. A team that has clearly done their homework over the X amount of time since their last game. It's been looking good for the team. And again, a lot of this came down from the early contact. No one watching this rightmost angle from Qbert's end for the swing that Nasi had prepared. A-side goes out once again from Qbert. This Neon needs to find extra value. Distance made. Infiltrator discovered, but the opening pick does not go in their way, Tenrek.
Flair was handed that gun for a reason, and he's now going to trade it back with that lower health pool. Such a terrific lateral by Winthrop University. That'll now see Infiltrator take up the mantle of holding down that front line. Everything ticking like a Swiss watch right now for WU. And Flair was the top frag of this map last time they played on it. That was against TSM, by the way. They won.
Yeah, the watches are complex dials and gizmos, all needing to work perfectly to be executed. In Qbert Academy, they've struggled to find the right gears. This is their chance now. Infiltrator for the evasion. Shutting down the entry right away. No more smokes, no more flashes twice over. Leave it to 1 and T-Dog falls. Now, I'm a little nervous, Tenrek. I'm not gonna lie. Not just because I'm in your presence. I enjoy your company, but...
Okay, Glaze.
If I'm Qbert, would you want to time out very quickly if rounds keep going the way they did, like the beginning of Fracture, or do you want to wait it out? If I'm Winthrop, I want that immediate timeout from Zen.
Well, sure, no, I mean, you'd love to drain it out early, but how do you do that? You have to truly, like, discourage Qbert Academy's attack, and on a map like Haven, it's really hard to do that because these teams are so used to just banging their head against a metal door when it comes to this map.
But it's also a sign of confidence, too. Winthrop, again, 2 clean rounds on their defense in a row. Infiltrator shutting down a singular lane. That was the apex point of Qbert. Not finding anything on that second. Early contact made outside C. Utility was dumped out. Infiltrator once more. Will he be cleared out? The answer is no.
Wavering with that stealth run a bit, and it allows for Infiltrator to get a nice and free kill. Nismo quickly counteracts it, but smoked away, and Qbert's options are once again limited. WU staging some presence in the courtyard for a moment as well, just to make sure that nobody can extend and start getting another direction. It looks like we'll snake back over. Yeah, they're dissuaded here.
Group up the push now. You don't have Redux to create that space.
Yeah, that's your one shot. So much of the driving force behind this attack. And so you have to util dump tenfold instead to get on top of this, despite the fact that you have this gun diff.
30 seconds.
Trying to breach through the garage as well. It's Ollie to intercept. He does not have the weapon to match up to this, so he'll just duck out as the util dump starts coming through. Nismo only has a blind left, and all it takes is a fault line from Winthrop to completely stunt this push. Hubert's on the way back out again. Flair behind this sheer won't be able to get anything done. Scuba watching his 6 and can find the 1, but limited time to go here, and Flair watching the window. Stalling even longer is Nazi on sight. Now the blind on top of the spike plant. Hubert has to confidently get this down, and they just can't. Knights, just enough time, but he has to win the fight against the 1, and he does. One man standing for Hubert to take the bonus, man. This is so scary.
That was so scrappy from both teams. Redux was gone. Hubert were forced to group up together and caravan their way to a site. There was a small miscomm. Flair rerouting back to A for just a microsecond, dipped out in the A lobby, goes back and finds the flank hit. But Knights again saves the day as the anchor for the attack and gets the final kill needed to not have that plant needed as a win condition. If that plant was denied another time, that would have been 3-0 for Winthrop, and we're just going straight back into the action.
Again, razor thin gaps here for rounds.
Double smokes, though. That's going to stop Hubert in their tracks. It buys time for the reposition of Infiltrator.
Infiltrator staying posted.
Nothing sewers. No sign anywhere else. Guard is still up on A. Infiltrator sees nothing, but he's waiting for that fight. He gets it.
T-Dog gets ahead of Redux's hold. Now he's just gonna ult out. No, ult in. Pardon me. Yeah, just make sure that the rest of the stack is here. He'll find everybody except for Knights and force the rest of Hubert to duck back, play for this courtyard control, which they can now have as they've... Winthrop is actually stacked pretty heavily on top of this dimensional drift. Of course, Hubert not aware of that. They'll still have to do a lot of prelim clearing, and also, oh man, bust down the door of this sheer now that they've made their choice. 30 seconds on the clock. This is mandatory, and Hoops has an outlaw walking into it, misses it. Nismo counteracts and is going a little farther on top of Ali's counter frag. But the infestations don't carry out nearly as well, and with this Armageddon and Nasi on site, Infiltrator too, it's still a hellscape for Hubert Academy here on the attack. Knights yet again alone, and in the 1v3, he is not going to be able to get away with the spike doubling back this time. He'll just have to hold the plant, and with the salvos on, he will not be able to do so. 3-1 for Winthrop.
Winthrop are truly in the minds of Hubert. The protocol set up by Winthrop's defense once Hubert lost that opening pick and were forced to dip was amazing. We didn't get to see much of it, but Nazi, forced on a stun timer, still had that crossfire position, B main, alongside Ali, making sure that if Hubert pushed B, they would all get mowed down. A gigantic Winthropian blender. But then, because you still have Vice backside C, and Outlaw sure did almost save the day for Hubert, the sheer was enough to allow him to go up onto the gray box to at least attempt to get that next hit to stall the entry. Once again, Hubert, they're struggling to find a way in. Angling being held now deep inside garage. The stealth's going fine, not so stealthy now. Ali shoots it away. And somehow no damage applied to Hubert through that. 2 stingers though. This has to be very brawly executes on B site, and you could see the split occurring.
Gotta be coordinated for whichever angle you decide to hit first. Redux might get tested here. He's gonna walk it, and Ali clears it. His garage presence still not fully taken care of. An Infiltrator on the walk back. Timing does not matter for him. Neither does it for moves. Full clear from the house. Winthrop, flawless round 5.
Really telling that we saw the clear from T-Dog, and Ali not moving a muscle. It is still good to swing aggressively beyond being spotted out and still wins a fight. There was a big weapon advantage for Winthrop, I'll give them that. But even then, I have to ask, what is T-Dog's Swarm doing? This is multiple times now where either info has been missed or being found, and there's not really any capitalization off of it from Sentinel's Cuber.
Yeah, it hasn't been nearly as collapsible as something like Nismo's util has been so far for Qbert. And that was the biggest weakness that Core detected from Sentinel's push, was because, you know, it takes a moment to be able to stack all this with the timing that these players are learning. It's very telegraphable, and that's exactly how they beat TSM last time. Just getting to wherever Qbert were going to push first and meeting them there for the fight and winning that fight. They continue to do so here. And
Winthrop haven't changed that strat.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no reason to yet. As long as you keep guessing right, which these guys really are. The calling is superb. Again, Ollie's transition as coach to player as well. I mean, just the boundless well of knowledge that this team and org and each player has at this point. Like, it has really started to add up. And here in the playoffs, where every round is really these teams, in theory, like digging deep into these playbooks and searching through every possible crevice of information they can find.
Look,
Winthrop studied up.
Qbert loves a timeout, using X-Pac playoff work.
Redux.
Steel Garden, good meltdown, a read from Qbert. Steel Garden there, a great solidification. Lick the envelope of this round, get a second on the board. And I'm not going to count out moves an Infiltrator just yet.
You never can, you're never allowed to at this point, but I agree. This site is pretty much wrapped up with a neat little bow. I didn't even realize, wow, they still had a second Vine in there. Okay, nice.
And no ults used by Qbert. This is a huge dub for them if they can carry that over.
Yeah, that was the perfect start that they were looking for Redux. That's what they've been looking to execute this entire time, and that's how they can collapse round after round after round. But they just haven't been able to do that too often. This time they will, and Winthrop, they'll see the signs. They'll save.
Both these teams thrive off of confidence. I told you I was nervous to see Qbert go for an early timeout. Into round 6, I would say, is in the middle point. Still feeling good about things, especially after that opening onslaught outside of A Sewers. Very much needed by Qbert. Very first blood heavy of a team. So many ults to work with into this next round. It's really Qbert to have all the pickings in the world to choose what they want to do to execute.
Yeah, they still... it really just does come down to coming through on your promises. And if it's all coordinated, then there's really no stopping this attack. It doesn't matter how many people you place in front of it. You have 5 ults on the table as well, like you said.
Yeah,
so,
that's a lot.
You really can do whatever you want, and you have no reason to not love yourself the whole time you're doing it.
Well, you should always love yourself.
Well, I mean, we're playing Valorant.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Very good point. But Infiltrator's in a good spot to get one before escaping. Stealth drones now wasted info, though. Didn't re-clear back of Garage. No info on C-site.
And still no confirmation of where the push is exactly headed. Tough outlaw peak. Yeah. It's tough to manage on your own, which is why Flair is going to be here early. And as always, he is just legendary on this map. That's 3 down for this Teo. Redux tries to slide back in. It's Nasi to intercept. And Winthrop, that's a gatekeep if I've ever seen one, but you have only Flair to thank for it.
We talked about that early stealth drone, procking through Garage, finding Infiltrator. He immediately TPs away, nullifies any information given from Qbert. That's all the info tools you have to get onto a site for this attack. You have to blindly trail your way through A long, hope for the best on this flash. Someone's watching your angle. And not a single player was set up and ready for a wide swing off of A long. Winthrop, 2 maps now, minimum, have taken full advantage of this flaw from Qbert.
Ollie this time, way too close to it. And again, there's your opening 2. That's how Qbert very easily won this site last time, and it's how they'll do it again. Winthrop will be, once again, either intimidated or just flat out shot out of the space before anyone really commits to it fully. And this will be a said and done round.
Spike planted.
Really makes you wonder what moves is going to do into the next. Is he going to keep placing his utility on C site, or is that going to move over to A? Because 3 players minimum have been placed up on A round after round, and they've all fallen very quickly to Qbert when they wide swing in. The utility might have to be the motive to stall out Qbert, force them to reset, and that's when the confidence dives in the mid round. Force a reset into hitting a different site. Winthrop finds so much value out of that.
Not ready yet.
To that point, though, I'd love to see Qbert even, you know, metamorphose that into something that they could take advantage of, simply because they have classically here on Haven been so much stronger on the retake game with this composition. Redux feels so much more enabled when he can head in through a link as opposed to a main line. So if Qbert can find a way to turn this corralling that WU is so good at into their own sense of control over the offensive angle, then they're going to be able to util trade their way into a makeshift retake anyway.
And this is multiple rounds now where Qbert still have 5 ults to work with.
Exactly. They can dump as much as they need to on whoever is there on the stack that they are, I mean, in theory, willing to run into to a degree, you know?
But this could be a double wide swing potentially from Winthrop. Infiltrator likes to proc for info, then TP out, smokes out instead. Infiltrator, an operator in play off of this stealth drone could be a nasty opening pick.
Paranoia on top of Infiltrator, so he can't peek out on top of the stealth drone immediately, but no one's gonna walk in just yet. Qbert.
I don't think they saw the off.
Yeah, I don't think
Only
they
the
did
shorty.
either. Aftershock does choke out Infiltrator. Huge misplay that could give Qbert another free round even earlier now. Steel guarded, yeah, don't even try.
Adaptation this time from Winthrop though. A flank available. The wall can stop Winthrop just for a while. I think they've jumped over it, or it was procced out. Could be either or. But that being said, though, full control Qbert on site, drain the ultimates from Winthrop, still a 2-point lead. They can absolutely use this round to do that.
They have not read moves his wrap back around. He stayed hidden, so they're gonna check back again for that. Knight's Wiggle doesn't make it onward, so you have to use a little bit more. Luckily, the rest of Winthrop University can't attack the site nearly as swiftly. The rest of Qbert can hold it down, and it's another 2-man save, taking us to a 5-4 game. This is the Qbert attack that you were asking for walking in, folks. This is exactly what you were expecting. This fast exec, this easy flowchart that Winthrop University is going to fall prey to on the defense. This is the game that you're looking for if you're a Sentinels fan.
And Winthrop are continuing to change it up. They put different players on A side. They're taking different angles early on. Anything to throw at the wall to stick, and there's too much vegetable oil on it. Qbert Academy are finding too much success wide swinging and brazenly using utility early to shut down core players like Infiltrator, making A site all but impossible. Back to 3 players again. This time though, Flare Armageddon available. Oh, but Qbert, are they going to default early? That spike has not been dedicated to any site just yet. Infiltrator's back once again in sewers. A good fake early on. Qbert don't want to reveal their strats too early. They may still be able to rotate to A site. But if they can find out moves as utils on C, that could be a lead back to A.
See what Knights can scope out. He'll already step into moves in the arc roads, revealing the lane. Redux has to throw out the relay bolt early on to counteract, and it's going to be the full dump of the Vise util and WU with not a full-blown rotation, but Infiltrator will at least head back over. Qbert sensing the blood in the water. They'll waver back on over. Trying to plant Scuba on the garage peak as well to see if anybody creeps out of courtyard. Winthrop has been pretty keen to have somebody do that every once in a while, but no one in this mid-round as Qbert make their way back onto home sweet home, A lane.
Scuba does have ultimate though. From the shadows back to C site's a possibility. Even still, great execute.
And there is that Armageddon. Clarius used that very frequently for these A execs, and Redux unfortunately can't make any headway on the rest of it. That'll be a WU shutdown this time. They have the players to back it up. Really is just like me in my room when I'm 5 years old, taking like clumps of army guys and just smashing them together.
Oh, Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of what it feels like, right? At least the army men are rotating a little bit, right? But they identified the big cause of moves finding so much success before. They're not wanting to deal with the Vice, even though they have an overwhelming amount of ultimates to create that space. The Rolling Thunder wasn't enough for the entry. A reverse Armageddon from Flare eliminates T-Dog. Space is all but impossible. The floor was quite literally lava, and there was nothing Cuber could do. Winthrop have secured a healthy first half, but if they get one more, at least then they'll have a lead going into the second. Re-clear again, though, from the stealth drone. Off that smoke, not much, but Infiltrator's there for the follow-up. He exits risky.
Ozzy's sticking around for a while there. And Redux gonna try and take advantage of it. Overdrive toying with Flare at the moment, but too much happening on site. Now Redux is the only one left on it, actually. Rest of Cubert having to fire back through. And Overdrive gone. Redux conked out. Cubert still haven't made the ground up. They'll head on to Garage, and immediately the Vine's activated. Winthrop University have another hard stopper here.
Look at Ollie's position, though. If this is a C plant, they're not going to clear him out. Stealth drone was already used. All of T-Dog's utility used up. And it's a call back to A site. 40 seconds left, plenty of time to do that. The flank wall is set up as well. Why not, right? But Moobs is one off that Steel Garden. Yeah. Cosmic Divide available too will buy him some time. Even if we see the utility on the flank procced out, he can block out noise for that flank if he chooses to do so. But no, he's going to stack up with his team knowing there's a severe body disadvantage.
TP from Scuba just to gain that position without having to peek through Link. Sure, at this point in the half, why not use that ultimate? None left now for Cubert Academy as the Cosmic Divide will come through for Winthrop. That'll stop T-Dog, but he's going to use those salvos on Link to just flush out Winthrop a little bit more. Ollie and Flare, now it'll be the Arc Rose they have to deal with, and Scuba, of course. Moves, sprayed through, he's gone. Flare steps out, he's gone. Ollie.
That's the last of them.
So 6-5 for Cubert. That's another A site, pretty clean.
Hey, great post-plant call from Cubert. The fact that we normally see this team play far off A for the post-plant and util dump, recognizing Ollie did have Cosmic Divide, played up into the site, knowing full well, again, body advantage, yes, but the fact that they don't want to be affected by the divide whatsoever was a really smart call to take these fights as a group.
One more round here in the half. Steel Garden available for Moobs for potentially the retake. But does Winthrop want to go for that? It's been a big back and forth that's gotten Winthrop to 6. No planting in lane. None in sewers either. Winthrop staying back. No lurkers on C lane. They're waiting for the fight to come to them.
Waited for all of it to drain. Cubert know full well they need this last round, bring it 6-6. Utility of the Yoru timed out too. Call has been made for the stealth drone on the re-clear from sewers. That'll spot at least one. Activation's been made. Infiltrator waiting for the lurk around C, but it will never come. This could be the execute A.
Redux is inside on top of the Steel Garden. Moves is able to quickly counteract him and pick up his own gun. And on top of the shear, rest of Cubert's slowed. With everything expired, they'll try and explode back out again and do a pretty good job of it. Line up the front half of the site. Now it's down to a 2v2 in the back of it. Knights is lit up and will now use his own Steel Garden to confirm that no one is present at the scene of the crime. 2v1 on retake.
A great turnaround from Cubert to solidify things. It was a rough first half, but Cubert recognizing again, A site was a very easy site for them to take. Wait, hold on, I may have spoken too soon. 1v1. Whoa! Ali! Unbelievable! A re-clear. A caster's curse definition.
Yeah, go collect the gun.
yeah, save it for the next round. Next round.
Yeah, that is, again, such a huge choke from Cubert Academy to get ISO'd like that.
Winthrop has been the better fragging team this whole series. And again, the star potential of Winthrop all having hero moments, round after round. On a site again that Cubert Academy may have lowered their defenses more, considering the fact it has been easy to take A site. No utility needed for the 1v2. Just divide and slicing the pie.
Another pistol round now for Winthrop on the attack here. This is both of these teams' stronger sides on the map, so we'll see how Qbert are able to develop their retake game that they will rely on so heavily, and how Winthrop will find new ways to attempt to intercept that util, and by extension, the kills that come from it. Decoy sent up through Garage to let this stealth drone in peacefully, so C-Site can become the first meal on Winthrop University's plate. They haven't fully committed to it just yet, so neither will Qbert. Scuba staying nice and close up against this lurk from Moobs, who is not prepared. 4v5 to start things out.
It's a good early shutdown. Yeah. That was the fake lurk, though. Infiltrator, Decoy, as you mentioned, already available, but now he's back site C, and it's empty. Nothing's found on A just yet. The majority of Qbert on B. They know full well something's up.
Ollie gonna get this spike down as Qbert Academy will prepare for this takeover. D-Dog is more than a herd and checking a million different directions, but Nasi easily wins that fight. Redux has to take care of that before dealing with the remainder of it, so we can do a little bit of shuffle in, but Knights is coming for the crunch from Link, and so it's a 2v1 that Infiltrator will win!
Anyone else thinks they can kill a guy?
Utterly impossible this man is on Haven, and yet he continues to dominate. 8-5 Winthrop.
Not lost pistol rounds yet, man. It's been ridiculous from Winthrop. And they're so much more willing to use their own lives as info. Flare, yes, used the stealth drone early, but the push-up from B main, yes, it cost Moobs his life, but he was able to detect B side being heavily occupied, giving more permission for Infiltrator to push in. A side once more empty.
This is the moment where Winthrop try to go on that mad dash to 13. Escape this series to the winners finals to face off against Shopify Rebellion Black. Qbert Academy's road wouldn't get any less bumpy either down in the lower bracket. If they were to lose this, full stack on the A site to prepare for Winthrop's inevitable conquering of it. No. Everybody knows exactly what's about to happen. The only thing that isn't clear is the conclusion of it just yet. Nice salvos to suss out Infiltrator. Immediate TP into sight. He's run out of options, and so Redux shuts him down. There's your ticket in, but Moobs has found a different way. The lurk that, gets caught out by the Arc Rose nice and early, so the Razorvine has to get utilized to play keep away, but B-side is still unflinchingly WUs.
Buying time now. Winthrop playing so far away. Nasi still full utility for the dump here.
There.
Through the smoke, Moobs. When he peeks, he'll see no one's healing.
So much clear in your way. Paranoia tossed in from the other side. That is gorgeous chemistry. Ollie doing a whole lot of homework here. Nova Pulse on the door line, and Nasi a wraparound of his own. And the gun diff will still carry through. Scuba, only good for one. And Winthrop University are 4 rounds out from making this their match.
Such a big turnaround from Lotus. Nearly doubling the rounds over Qbert once again. Great IGL call made to dip out of A site, hit B off of the very far up lurk from Moobs. Once more, no utility set up B, not even an angle watching it. Again, the weapons were not the best in the world for the defense, but even then, could have been the chance to bring one back over. Rifles now for Qbert Academy. This could be one of their last full buys this series.
Options are running dry. Moobs' lurk, though, is starting to get a little thin. And so this bonus is already looking pretty decent for Qbert Academy. Stopping those early lurks and picks and peeks and whatever Winthrop thought they could have managed on a round like this. It'll all get shut down, and Qbert trying to make this flawless, keep this nice and steady and stable walking into the remainder of the half. Only one option left, and oopsie, Ollie's not there to see it. Spike will be a little behind the primary fragger of WU here on Haven, and That'll probably lead to the flawless this time around, indeed. 5 guns held onto by Qbert Academy here in round 15. They have every excuse to be able to hold on to this game, Keg.
Yeah, absolutely. Bonus buy was something we've seen Qbert Academy struggle with. This time now, they have the chance to snowball their economy further ahead. Something we didn't get to see at all last map. It's just a big question of, again, can they identify what's going on both sides in the mid-round? Loving the utility usage, and as you mentioned, stronger side for both teams, absolutely apparent. This time, though, aggression outside of A main. The lobby now soon to be smoked and flashed over by the Omen. Could be a fast peek, a stealth drone too for Sewers momentarily. All just to break this Sentinel economy.
You've gotten the sheer taken care of thanks to that decoy. But yeah, the stealth drone is gonna, again, suffocate moves a little bit here. And so T-Dog, coming in to try to get on top of this. And so Winthrop will just meet back up and take the fight here. Paranoia into the lobby gives Nismo a nice early kill as well, though. So it's gonna be a 4v4. And with University still have to press in on. You still got Infiltrator, though. And the stealth drone is gonna help you out a little bit more. 2 on Qbert to meet this immediately. This is brave from them. So yeah, they'll duck back behind some cover, and Winthrop also taking their time, seeing if anybody is punishable right now on the wraparound or just sneaking through the smoke. You've got to make sure every inch is covered. Nismo first to try and take a breath in this direction, and Infiltrator's timing a bit off, but still loses out in the duel. Nismo, nice turnaround, and again, Winthrop too slow to collapse upon it. They've got to make it work anyway, and Flair the next victim of that.
1 enemy remaining.
Double swing to confirm the call, and yeah, Nasi the only survivor. Loved the reset from Winthrop too. Up until that final execute, they were waiting for his stun to be
10 seconds
available
left
before pushing back in. That didn't work. A-side this time. What was so easy for Qbert Academy's attack to take has been Fort Knox for Winthrop. They cannot push in. And we may have to see more resets here from this mid-round on Winthrop's side. They have to figure out how to unlock things before it turns into a 9-9 tied scoreline. Timeout, yes, absolutely called. Very close to Infiltrator and Flair's ults. Ollie the same. The cycling is almost complete, Tenrek. This is the time to figure out, okay, what can we do to control more of that mid to garage site?
1 enemy remaining.
My immediate thought is just continuing to put down the Razor Vines there. It's done a tremendous job of slowing down these teams when it comes to the late round pushes. It just involves such a flowchart of like having them start in A lane and then try to fight for some C control and then eventually double back over to try to go for a full, for like a crunch. And it leads me to want to say that you probably just stick Ollie in the corridor and have him double back to C site if there's a stack on it.
Good point. I'm thinking about moves though. He has been invisible on his attack the entire series. He got away with a nasty lurk very early on in this attack half too. And there wasn't any util prepped up on B main. I mean, it's possible once again. Yeah, now we might see more defenders on B site, but for the mid round, a rover rotate from Qbert, it's certainly a possibility. Winthrop's lurks have been incredible. And it looks like this time though, you were right. It's gonna go to Ollie instead, who's gonna be looking for the outermost angle.
Hopefully, sussing out C more than garage at the moment, making sure there's nobody heading down the crawl space there. Still no. Rest of Qbert. And there is some heavy posting up on the garage. But Scuba does not have any very quick way to get out of it, so expecting the blind, expecting the turn. He's gonna try TPing out of here, and he'll get away with it.
Shadows traveling. Almost a core distraction moves. Spotted out by the stealth drone. 3 players still on A site. Plenty of time left. Winthrop are looking to rotate into A site. They're going right into the belly of the beast. Qbert fishing for this fight.
This is what you all wanted, isn't it? This is what Winthrop was prepared for.
One Vandal.
Infiltrator up C main as well. Keep a note of that. Smoke on top of
30
it too.
seconds left.
See what he can find along the way. Push down sewer. Nismo first to peek it. Shut down. Salvos are going to scare Redux a tiny bit. Now a blind as well. 13 seconds to go and we're still not fully in here, but that's because this guy is right here, T-Dog. And we can now fully blossom out from the backside. Still an effective 2v1 at the moment, but no time. You've got to go for the kills and no one can grab him. So Qbert, it's the clock that wins out, but Qbert, I think they had a million different ways to win in that round, Max.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, Qbert overall just trusting their gut, not over-rotating to A, from A to C, I should say. Really stifle Moobs' general plan with that lurk. The stealth drone spotting him out, the idea alongside Infiltrator to take very gluttonous amounts of space, backside did not work. And the call was made probably mistakenly by Winthrop. Okay, let's rotate into A. There should be less people here now that we've wasted their time. Not the case. Infiltrator tried doing the reverse late round. No effect either. Qbert have officially warmed up to the plays of these lurkers.
And no more funny business. Qbert's all about action now, and Nismo's getting hungry. Moves caught out early. Infiltrators on site with the dimensional drift. We breach through the sheer next, and Winthrop University go for a full-blown takeover of C-Site. Gotta wait for 3 more members to hop on over, though, so they'll toss the spike to Ali. Just in time for that Rolling Thunder, and Armageddon to come through. It's a double Armageddon, though, down the other way. Qbert's is gonna come up so much heavier, though. Redux and Nismo are all over that site, and it's a flawless victory in round 18.
This is post-timeout, too. That was both used by Winthrop. The double get in, stifling space for everybody. There was no place to go, and Qbert once more, Redux. We talked about him having a slowish fracture, warming up yet again. Positive on the board now. Shutting down Winthrop right on their execute. A bitter taste of Winthrop's medicine, of how they treated Qbert not long ago. A-site yet again. This is going to be another aggressive play. Winthrop's economy consistently kept broken.
You're able to keep them on the curb. And this should be a quick 13 from Qbert with how they're starting to look now, which is, again, leveled up. What we were waiting for. The back end of that first map. Really surging now. No answer from Infiltrator alone. Moves close and personal on this first lurk to try and parse something out himself. Doesn't find anything either.
Great smoke off of Ali. Severing the Hydra once more. Scuba falls in return. Still plenty of players left alive for Qbert. And the most threatening weapon is just Nasi with a Phantom. He's not even planting. Rolling Thunder not available.
Cosmic Divide is, though. Ollie electing not to use it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, they're going to play for it. They understand the gravity of the situation here, and Redux is going to overdrive in return. It's a little bit of overkill, but that's exactly what Qbert would like at this point. They take the lead here and are on a swift path to a 13-9 victory if the going continues.
Usurping Winthrop now. This defense, a great defuse. Winthrop now, we mentioned the economy. It's been bouncing back and forth from looking okay to not okay. Steel Garden. Oh, the second one. There it is. The Steel Garden available. Rolling Thunder at that from Winthrop. Plenty of execute tools available now. These rotates from Qbert have not been lacking of confidence. They've been rotating so well and taking so many great fights. The 1v1s too, something Qbert, again, weren't really specialized on this series, now coming to fruition. Oh, hello. Peering into my soul.
Is it that time again?
Yoru, I've come to bargain.
Well, I mean, when it comes to pure answers, yeah, it's playing together is what sticks out to me more than anything else. Is just the ability to not, get spread too thin. And check your corners, or at least have the ability and time to be able to check all of them.
Yeah. I want to highlight the kill we saw against Infiltrator too. A big thesis of the plan for Winthrop in these early rounds has been these double fake lurkers going from C site and A. And Qbert, because they're not over-rotating as much, they're playing to look out for the lurkers first before they really go for their set protocol executes. the lurks have not worked, and now Winthrop are stuck with a much more linear style of executing.
Redux now opping as well. Salvo trade up A main, like neighbors yelling over a garden fence.
Well, where's that property line at? Redux? Keeping a very careful eye on any prospectors that may kind of come to survey the land. And yet no one will show up.
You can start this anytime. Infiltrator, okay, just to get out. Get rid of that shear. But no other Vice util, so I don't think this is going to prompt Knights to do any sort of huge macro change. Just put this Vine down the second they actually make noise and enter, and doesn't really have to worry about it, but WU pretty well aware of that, so they'll go for the A-side exec instead. Steel Garden will catch at least one, maybe two. And they'll dive in.
What can you do here? 9 to 10. Nasi still rolling thunder available for the post plant. A great lurk available here from Scuba.
Checking for moves. Oh, now he has to. Paranoia to toss in, and oh, the timing! It's huge! Vault line onto Redux's position as well as the salvos too. Winthrop University are able to now go toe-to-toe. They've given enough time. Hubert to go for the fight. Drop down from Redux and Nismo is pretty good though to equalize. T-Dog is now on. T-Dog is now lit. And it's turned this to a 2v1. But moves. Only good for one more. And Hubert, they will storm back on, still win out the majority of the fight somehow and make it 11-9.
They just keep making it work. Again, Winthrop, they're ace in the hole this entire series, but they've come so accustomed to using the work. Has not worked out well. I may be sick right now, losing my life by the second. The Infiltrator, again, the teleports. He's trying everything in the Yoru cookbook to stifle away force rotates, and it's not working. If you can't make Hubert rotate, what are you going to do? It's been a rotting strategy.
Yeah, no decent prompts. Past 6-round streak, and not too much change we see immediately here in the follow-up round, except Redux, excuse me, is now opping B instead of A. Those salvos still traded. Winthrop a little more on the front door of A this time. Infiltrator is TPing back out after that first check. Very safe play coming from WU right now.
It's so safe. Again, playing so slow. Winthrop don't want to reveal their hand early. The stealth drone. T-Dog right on the money, this defense.
I mean, he's been able to just stall this round out for so long immediately just like that. Infiltrator trying to get rid of the shear. He will. And Knights' util is not on this time. The Vines were up the garage push. Yeah, Winthrop will recognize this C-side is very much open with moves. Checking the midway. I don't think Hubert's taking that at all. Yeah, they're all going through CT. They are playing it safe for this retake.
Cutting off the post plant though with that smoke. It might be at least something, but what do you do here again? T-Dog now, an op and play a table op no less too. This is just gonna be a mess.
Steel Garden on the site, so it's already a bit of a struggle, but Infiltrator manages to avoid it, and the Rolling Thunder will slow down all of Hubert to the point where Moves has now made his creep back up garage. Scuba, though, on site, and he's keeping it clean. T-Dog, now that operator getting put to good use. Hubert still continuing to somehow find a way. Flare the next one, shown out. Ollie, though, double kill on the Guardian. And a gravity well to keep away from Scuba, who can land the shots, but it's no time! Winthrop University will escape with a round.
Oh, maybe not one more. By the blink of an eye, no time to defuse. Neck and neck, 10 to 11. Slowing things down. Was a viable strat at first, finally changing up the pacing versus Hubert. You want to keep these defenders on their toes. A long streak of rounds broken. Yeah, start with Scuba getting the double kill. So in the wound.
That Rolling Thunder was such a critical point of that round for Winthrop University, forcing Qbert to act so much quicker and yeah, just barely losing to that stopwatch. And so Winthrop given another chance at life. Still their buy is pretty half decent, but it'll have to do.
Arc Rose, this timing, if Knights can get it perfectly, oh no. Doesn't proc it. Chadley aim duels it instead.
Infiltrator attempting to TP in on this. He's looking for on top of the stun. Scuba lands the shot! Immediate silencer. Does Winthrop commit or not? They've got to get rid of this shear first if it's B site, and so they'll disperse again. Oh, Redux, that operator. Not going to work out too well against a guy with a shot like Ollie, who's picked up a second now.
Unbelievable. Reset again. A site cleared up. Stealth drone gone from the attack and the defense. The biggest clearing tool and multiple available moves. No, they've changed it up. The lurks are working again. And guess what? It's not just them. Now Nazi's a part of it.
Jump down and it's caught. Ollie again. Now coming from spawn to get that third. And Scuba in a world of hurt. No way he comes away with this. We are tied up at 11 now, as Winthrop University have found new ways to switch up on Qbert Academy, and it's working.
It's working well, and guess what? To make things even worse now for Sentinel Qbert Academy, Infiltrator Dimensional Drift absolutely going to be used in these next few rounds. And the timeout's been called. Just a breath of air needed. A long streak of confidence-building rounds now crumbled by 2 to tie it up again. What a long road Qbert Academy's had to take this series to get to this point. And just as they went over one small speed bump into a plateaued land, they may be facing a final avalanche.
This is a real decider, folks. An economic toppler for arguably both sides as well. These teams about to put it all out on the table one more time just for the winners finals. This isn't even an elimination match yet.
Oh, it feels like one. How intense both these teams have been playing. Armageddon, Dimensional Drift, the two ults I'm most looking at into this next round. Ali likes to save Cosmic Divide for post-plant. Could be a great exec strategy too. Divide and conquer Qbert Academy. 3 sites to work with. Winthrop unable to win Lotus. Can absolutely make it up on the second 3-site map. Here's to start out here. Early salvos. Plenty of smokes. Shots being made out. Tracers available. Infiltrator does not care.
T-Dog is right in front of this, and he's the only one with his ultimate at the moment. He's sussed out, but a huge whiff from Infiltrator.
Oh no!
One of your key opportunities out the window.
And now, because of that, Stealth Drone brought out nobody else's A-main. Guess what? Smokes need to go down C. Something's going on the other side of the map.
We've already figured out what's going on at this point, and there's still a shear in your way, so you've got a Dimensional Drift. There it is from Infiltrator into Garage and trying to take care of all of backside on his lonesome while Moops continues the lurk peek. Another double Armageddon toss between links, and it goes a little more for Winthrop's direction, but T-Dog at least takes care of Infiltrator from that Garage choke. Everyone else from Qbert coming out from Link, though, and they're able to trade blow for blow. 1v2 here for Nismo coming from Garage, and here's Moves immediately walking up. This will turn into an organic 1v1. No, the turnaround from Moves is perfect! And they're 1 round away from the match!
Match point.
Qbert are doing everything they can to take these fights, stifle out Winthrop early round, and then deny any opportunity to plan. And guess what? Doesn't matter. Winthrop made small adaptations now. They're willing again, just like Fracture, to play the map much more. Keep Qbert on their toes and finally, once again, win fights. One more chance for Qbert Academy this series.
Infiltrator yet again, a little overexcited on the boxes. Some opening damage done. Excuse me, that's Redux.
I mean, everyone's excited about boxes.
Continuing to search for, yeah. And there is the peak. Takes just one shot from the Outlaw to deal with that. So your info retakes is gone. You got to go even heavier for the interception if you're Qbert. Scuba's going to head down to the cubby. Knights is on top of his Rose. It's a double hold in Sewer, too.
Deep positioning from Scuba. Hoping for the best. Of course, Garage, no information available. Steel Garden, no evasion for this Omen. Has to challenge this fight with a classic. 2 left for Qbert Academy, Tenrek. It's all but over.
Rolling Thunder on early. Ollie still gets the plant down, and Qbert just have no follow-up tools at the moment for this. They're only using this to flush out. And on top of that, the Cosmic Divide is able to make sure that Qbert don't get any intel off of this either. They can't even see what they're privy to. It's an easy double kill from Moves to end things. First they were relegated, then they were Godslayers. Now here they sit in the winners finals of playoffs of Split 1. Winthrop University's made it through.
What do you do when there's no more gods to kill? Winthrop have been playing incredibly this series. And although I didn't get to see a lot of map 1, the next 2 maps were a masterclass of Winthrop and having the confidence to take fights, very brazen ones at that, and still being able to work together and communicate as a team to ensure the overall strategy was there and take the fights necessary to disrupt a very complex team.
A montage of speed traps and heat checks that are perfect for a team that is built entirely off of just dodging those, completely egoed by Winthrop University. We'll see Sentinels Qbert Academy take on that losers bracket, but you will see Shopify Rebellion Black and Winthrop University fighting for a spot in those grand finals as we move on to the second leg of our bracket. Before that, we'll head back to the desk for an interview. Don't go anywhere.
doubted every step of the way, including into the series after the first map in a loss. But Winthrop University bounced back not just one, but 2 maps in a 13-11 victory over none other than Hubert Academy to find themselves in the upper finals. They can't keep getting away with this, guys. They're the clear underdogs in this entire playoffs bracket. I mean, are we on board yet? Winthrop University, they're winning the whole thing.
I can't believe T1 looks so good today against Hubert Academy. Meteor, Buzz, the calls from Stacks, they were crazy. I actually can't believe this play out that way. No, but talking seriously, Winthrop looked insane. And they talked about it. They were like, we are the team that is being underrated. So if you're going to keep underrating us, we're going to keep winning. That's why we made this T1 connection. And I can't believe it played out this way. It was so close. It seemed like Hubert Academy were taking the lead towards the last couple rounds. But there was a crucial pause in the last 4 rounds themselves for Winthrop, where they got the pace once again. They figure out how they needed to play so much faster, because early into the second half, it was all about playing slow, waiting for the timer to run out, waiting for the last 30 seconds to go into that A hit, trying to bait with noise on the other side, and Hubert Academy was just not falling for it. So now that we get to see it, I love the Winthrop adaptation towards the end, and that's what allowed them to close it out. Ali as well made such a great impact into this comeback. It seems like he was sometimes having some rough rounds, but he absolutely made up for it towards the end. And what a match for Winthrop. Nobody was expecting this to happen.
No, it's absolutely insane. I mean, even the fact that for Winthrop, we end up seeing them, you know, close off a strong initial half there as well. And you're talking about Ali's impact later on into Haven, but it was like Flair all the way. I felt like in that first half, he started out ending that half like 13-5 on that Tejo, and just, I think, having so much impact with his utility, but also having these really key pop-off moments where Winthrop would be down in numbers. You would think, okay, Hubert Academy, they've got this round in the bag. And then Flair pops off with like a 3K to equalize numbers or even find that advantage. And it's just insane, like how every single player on the side of Winthrop is capable of stepping up at any point.
Yeah, earlier with some of these wins, it was the question of, hey, is the opponent for Winthrop University, is something happening? Are they not playing at full capacity? Are we starting to see cracks in the team? But as we go further and further along with the split and with this playoff bracket, like Hubert Academy, like they were shooting. Like Nismo was on one for this series. Some of these Redux aggression plays, like Knights was shutting them down. So for Winthrop to, despite all of that, still be able to perform back then, I think is more of a statement than anything, because this was a Hubert Academy that also looked really strong.
Both of the teams look really good towards the end. It was just trying to have the better read. And again, Hubert Academy had it for the longest time into the second half. That's how at some point they were able to take that lead, I think when it was 10-9. But it was that pause from Winthrop that made such a difference. They started playing so much faster. Ali was getting some great kills, great timings, great positionings as well. They fully understood how they wanted to play into these last couple rounds to avoid it going into overtime. The adaptation that this Winthrop squad has and has had for such a long time, it's insane. And it is building into one of those teams that is able to stay together with this core for a long time. And you get to see it in the synergy, in the way that they play these rounds, and even in the reads that they have against Hubert Academy, where it was a Redux that they knew was going to play towards A long. They were waiting for it. Infiltrator was just patient, getting that first pick, and that's how the last round closed out.
I'm still, Ash, when I'm looking through all of this, like I am still just in awe with like how that closed out. Like the first map was worrisome. The second map was a good one, but like that 13-11 on Haven, like that is a great way to be ending off this week, frankly.
I think that's what made today's series so much fun too, right? It was, we were hoping that it was going to go the distance. There were moments where there was a lot of just sheer dominance from one side, you know, on Lotus. That was Hubert, who had a really strong start. The fact that Winthrop were somehow able to like pull it back. And then just like this push-pull game of momentum throughout this entire series. And then to have Haven be a little bit more of that back and forth until that really, I guess, those long rounds that were being chained together to close out that map, where Winthrop was actually finally able to steal away that momentum. They took us on a wild ride for sure.
Yeah,
Cinema, great stuff. I am still anticipating. That was a fantastic match, and I know that the players over at Winthrop University must be thrilled. So we have none other than Moobs on the line for our post-match interview. Moobs, how's it going? Hello. What a win. You're now in the upper finals here in the playoffs. Like, what's going through your head?
I mean, you predicted it. Like, every week you pick us to win, and, you know, now we're here.
I was saying at this point, like, I couldn't let you guys down. I feel like I'm a part of the team and was on that.
Oh, we appreciate it.
I got you. I appreciate the win. You guys make me look like a genius over here. But, I mean, this Winthrop University squad, like, you cannot deny that this was one of the final teams to qualify into the playoffs. It was one of the last teams that we got to see really ramp up into all this potential. All these changes have been so good. So I want you to be honest with me. Did you think that it was going to be this upper bracket run into the upper finals in such a strong fashion?
I feel like every series that we go into, like, we think we can win. Even, like, when it goes into collegiate games, we bring that mentality. But the funniest thing is, like, we lost, like, a collegiate match, like, 5 days ago that we shouldn't have, and now we've beaten TSM and Cubert since. So it's like, we're just happy to be here, you know, like, we think we can beat everybody, but hey, like, we're not complaining.
No reason to complain. You're putting on a heck of a show for all of us. I want to talk back to this series and going into this fracture, because this is coming off of a loss to Lotus. This was one where we kind of thought it looked a little rough for you guys, but we see the switch up of composition. We see you bring out the Cypher, which we see the other Sentinels, but not your Cypher on fracture. So was that a decision a little bit more in, like, decided beforehand, in the moment?
Yeah, I think it was at like 4 a.m. last night. We were talking about the game today. I was just like, guys, I'm just playing Cypher. Oh, it's Nasi saying hello.
Hello, congrats.
But yeah, I just messaged our Discord group chat, and I'm like, guys, I think I'm going to go Cypher, because we have problems with, like, getting crunched a little bit, and I was like, I'll just put a trip, and it worked out. But I've always had my Cypher pick. I just enjoy playing Bizo, enjoy playing Chamber, and nothing worked, so kind of process of elimination, because I'm not playing Cage. That age is horrible, but, you know, Cypher worked out.
It definitely did. Now I want to talk about this third final map of the series, Haven, because this was one that went right down to the wire. And I want to know where those little differences came into effect, what the team had to do to make sure you could get over that finish line.
Yeah, I think towards the end, we started to slow it down a lot. We wanted to work the map a little bit, see where Vise was and what they were doing. And that helped us a lot, because if you maybe a little bit of nervousness was going, like, you know, we had a lot of big rounds. Like, Flair had a 1v4 on A where he just one-tapped everyone somehow. Ollie had that big clutch on the last round. So, you know, we had a lot of momentum going into it, and maybe, like, kind of got carried away with it. So we slowed it down a little bit, really thought about, hey, what do we want to do? Like, especially on that last round, you know, we drew it completely out, get me into Garage, Vise will go from there. So I just think slowing it down really helped us a lot.
Definitely did. Now you're in the upper finals. Next up, you're going up against Shopify Rebellion Black. I know the mentality. You can beat any team. This is a team that bested you before, so how are you feeling going into this?
Hey, Pancakes yesterday tweeted that doesn't matter, that we're winning it and I'm the GOAT, so, you know, we'll have to test it out and see. But no, it'll be a good match. You know, they look good on, and, you know, we'll have fun again.
Looking forward to it. Congrats again on this victory. Go celebrate. Go enjoy the weekend. You deserved it.
It's spring break for us, so.
Perfect. Even better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, back over to the desk. I always love the mentality from the team. They knew I believed in them, and that belief has never steered me wrong, even up against Shopify Rebellion Black. I know earlier I said that I would never bet against Shopify Rebellion Black again. I might have to, Dan, going into next week.
That's crazy, actually.
Winthrop University have never steered me wrong. That's all I'm saying.
That's
okay,
crazy.
stay with your chest. Stand on business. That's all right. You know, as long as you're standing on business, I got mad respect for that.
Hey, I mean, this run that they have been on, looking back like at this bracket, it has been a hell of a run. And sure, Shopify Rebellion Black, this is a team that is looking stronger than ever. And there is absolutely no denying that. But I am really excited for that rematch. And even looking at the matches that we have in the lower bracket, this is actually crazy, Ash, to think that those are going to be next week's elimination matches, because these are matches that, like, either one of these could have been grand final matches.
Yeah, it's actually, like, totally insane, I think, looking down at what, like, this lower bracket looks like, because you've got the top 3 teams from Swiss Stage in Rankers/Envy, TSM, and then Cubert Academy down in that lower bracket where they're on the chopping block for elimination. It is just actually wild. And even though M80, you know, they didn't close out that Swiss stage the way that they would have hoped. This was a squad where, you know, everyone had their eyes on this team heading into split one, and it just feels so backwards right now.
It has been the most reoccurring theme here for Challengers, Dan, that you genuinely do not know what's going to happen at any single point in the road. And as soon as we start getting comfortable with, hey, this team should win this team should win this, it's all turned right back upside down. This has just been insanity to the fullest, and I love it.
It's been so fun, especially because we're getting these predictions based on what we see from teams. Oh, 13-1, 13-2, surely they're going to win that next match. And then that doesn't happen at all. It's something completely different. I mean, that was what we were talking about when we saw this match with Cuber Academy today. We saw, yeah, 100% that pressure is going to go their way. It's been looking good. And I mean, things change in the ways that we're not expecting at all. So yeah, it feels really backwards, but I love to see this. I mean, Shopify Rebellion Black, they absolutely deserve it. It's one of the teams that we had kind of our questions about what they were going to be able to do throughout this playoffs and even in the group stage. And they've been improving and proving themselves as we get to see them. And obviously for Winthrop, they are the biggest underdog and they just keep winning. I think people are going to keep underestimating that, and that's the craziest thing. People are going to be like, oh no, surely they're going to lose the next match or the next match, and they're going to keep doing the same thing. They're going to keep winning probably.
It's an insane like dark horse story that's coming out from them. I do think though that it's hard because it feels like, yes, it's consistently this talk about this David versus Goliath, how they are this underdog team. And after a certain point, you have to start also giving them that respect. But then at the same time, in the upper bracket finals, they're facing off against the Shopify Rebellion Black, who have not, like, they're looking in the best form possible right now with that SRB. And I think that's going to be their biggest test yet within this playoffs bracket.
It is going to be a match you do not want to miss. Like the entire lower bracket, everything else, you do not know what's going to happen. So you got to make sure to tune into every match. But that is unfortunately it for us today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. All of the sport. We'll see you on Monday for the continuation of the North America Challengers playoffs.
Very similar. Potentially just going down under instead of going towards upper.
Oh, nobody gets inside the steps!
One enemy remaining.
Out for M80.
Let's see if we can keep it going. Kane's turn to let the overdrive go, and he will find so much more. God, it's like watching a stallion run in an open field. Here he goes, 3 kills down.
Full-line assist. Oh my god. Gun here. What do you want to do? What can you do?
What are you
back towards A-Link to kill B-Dog too? Dude, come on, Pain.
Give it to him, baby. Let's see it. Fast, terrified. Yeah, buddy. And Scuba being way behind it. Winthrop having a 4v2 stack for this retake that we're already going to walk into. Redux, you are giving yourself away way too hard right now, Big Dog. And he still finds 3. Why? How? Who? Confirmation of where the push is exactly headed. Tough
You only have
outlaw.
an outlaw.
Yeah. It's tough to manage on your own, which is why Blair is going to be here early. And as always, he is just legendary on this map. That's 3 down for this Teo. Redux tries to slide back in. It's Nasi to intercept. And Winthrop, that's a gatekeeper.
Very similar.